Good morning. What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday to you. We got a lot of things to discuss. Your uncle's here. No, Jason Sukamel. He had a lot, man. If you've been traveling this past couple of days, it's been brutal on everybody. And Jason Sukamel, he was a victim of it yesterday. I was a victim of it on Sunday. So no Jason, no recruiting today, but that's all right because we got plenty of football topics to get into. I'm actually I say I'm glad Jason's not here because I'm always glad that Jason's here, but it allows us to kind of talk football, talk about where Texas is at this moment. I'm going to give you some stuff from Arch and Matthew Caldwell and my SEC power rankings. I'm going to give you guys that a day early. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. We're about 160, 170 strong. Let's keep it going. All right. Here's one thing I want to do. Hopefully nobody messed this up for me. One thing I want to do is I want to do a little bit of a self-audit. Because on Fridays, I always come out with my keys to the victory for Texas. But then by the time I'm back on the show, we don't always get a chance to kind of go through what happened or didn't happen, right? So, right now, let's go through my Friday's keys to the victory, everything I said on Friday, so I can hold myself accountable to you. And then we'll get into some SARC and we'll get into my power rankings, all right? Good morning to everybody who's there in the chat. Good morning to Rodolfo, who's there in Houston. Please, Rodolfo, be safe. Good Lord. I don't need Rodolfo in Houston. All right, so let me tell you what my 5 keys to victory were. My first key to victory was, ironically, don't get Arch Manning killed. And that was mainly a conversation about the offensive line that y'all need to block for him. Well, Texas was able to pull out a victory outside of that because now we know that Arch Manning's in the concussion protocol, right? So I have been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks that Arch Manning can't continue taking hits like this. Like I kept saying it. I'm like, he's going to get hurt. Like it's just a matter of time before he gets hurt. I ain't trying to speak on it. I knocked on wood, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. You got to keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully he gets out of the concussion protocol as the week goes by. But if not, there's Matthew Caldwell. He's there and ready, and we'll have the conversation about that. The second thing I had said, as I've been doing a self-audit from last week, is I said get Ryan Wingo involved. And y'all been knowing I've been saying this week after week after week. I look, everything that you get from Parker Livingston is great. That's cool. But Ryan Wingo has to be the man of this offense. Like, that's what this offense needs to have. And y'all saw what it looked like. 5 receptions, 184 yards. Now, what's also impressive about that is that yak. That yak is what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about that cognac. Now, some of y'all thinking about that. I ain't talking about that kind of yak. I'm talking about that yards after contact. 129 yards after contact. And with 184 overall. So that yak is what we're really talking about, okay? And that was fantastic to see. Yes, I said number 3. I thought one of the keys to victory would be establishing the run game. Did not really have that. Did not really see that. We're still waiting on that as far as the run game is concerned. And that was somewhat repetitive with number 4, which, I said run the ball. There was another one I had to ad lib in there. And then the 5th thing in there was take the points. And Sarkisian did try to take the points. It just unfortunately didn't happen on every occasion. But yes, so overall, I would say all my observations for the most part were pretty good as relates to that whole thing. So anyway, we got our self-audit done. And now we're moving into a week where there's going to be an Arch Manning conversation damn near every day. And it just is what it is. And it's not because it's Arch, it's just because he's the starting quarterback. And any starting quarterback is always going to have that kind of conversation, right? And so I would be cautious if I was you. Be cautious on, reports and what things are going to put out there because everyone's going to be rushing to be first and not everyone's going to be rushing to be right. So just make sure, you take everything that you have with a grain of salt. We'll see what it looks like over this upcoming week. And if he can't go and if Arch can't play, I think what I said on Monday is still how I feel today. I think everybody kind of focuses on when they have this conversation. Everybody focuses on Well, what does it look like as far as like his ceiling is concerned? And people think like, well, he made these couple of key throws. I'm talking about Matthew Caldwell. Well, does that automatically transfer into something better than that? And for me, it's not about that. It's everything for me as relates to Matthew Caldwell is more about what is his floor? What does his floor look like? That's what I want to know. His ceiling is one thing, but that's hard to project. I want to know, what does his floor look like? Because if his floor is an acceptable floor, then with this defense, you can find a way to make it through, right? It's more, and I know you would say, well, what the hell? You didn't see a lot of defenses pass game. That's going to happen. Again, one of the things I've been talking about is, that whole notion that Texas was basically going to hold opponents to 10 and 17 points every game like that. That's just not going to happen. And I know, I felt like I was kind of alone on some of these shows when I would have the conversations about that and say, I don't, that's hard. That's asking a lot on a defense to say, give up 10 points. Like, teams are good. There's going to be breakdowns. There's guys on the other side of the ball. There's going to be good offensive players. So it's hard to expect that every single week, right? But what it'll look if that defense, though, for overall, if we get back to that middle ground, what's his floor? And as long as his floor isn't 2 interceptions and 3 interceptions in a game, right? And if he could give you about a $140 to $150-ish kind of passer rating, give you like 2 touchdowns, somewhere in that 200 plus neighborhood, 230-ish, 240-ish, then you're probably okay. You're probably okay if he has to play, right? And so that's, for me, when I look about Matthew Caldwell, it's all about the floor. It's because I'm not that person that automatically thinks, because I saw a couple of little things that I now think he's going to do that through 4 quarters. That's just unrealistic. Like, dude ain't going to throw for 500 yards in a game like that. That's your trajectory. That's just not. That's come on, right? So we're having an Arch Manning conversation. We're having the Matthew Caldwell conversation as well, right? And so Sark talked about it. Sark was asked about those guys, and let's hear what your head coach can say as relates to it or about it.
What have you seen from him, and what's the challenges of even a veteran working with the ones for the first time?
Well, I think the good thing for Matt, he's a very even-keeled guy. I thought he had a great practice today. I think, the players have a lot of confidence in him. I think it's his maturity, his approach. He's very engaged even when he doesn't play. If you ever watched our sidelines in game, 18 is probably the most engaged player on that sidelines. He's always picking guys up, offense, defense, special teams. And so he's got a really good relationship with the guys. And so I don't think it's like, well, who's this guy? He's in a lot of faces a lot of the times. And so it felt very comfortable, felt very normal today. I thought the bigger thing for today was that KJ Lacey got reps with the 2s. And I thought that was really good for him. He's a very talented player who's been growing and getting better. So it was fun for us to see him get more reps today.
And by the way, y'all know I like KJ Lacey, right? Y'all, if you watch the show, and some of you guys watch it religiously, some of you guys pop in here and there, no matter what, as long as you're popping in every once in a while, we watch it every day. Like, I still appreciate it. Y'all know, I told y'all in training camp for sure. I know I was like, man, I like KJ Lacey. Like, this dude can sling that rock. I think KJ Lacey is the truth, quite honest with you. I really do. I think he's going to be really good when it's all said and done. What does that mean? Like, we ain't going to go in the world of projecting anything crazy, right? But I think he's good. I really do. So I think when he finally does get out there, we're definitely going to be impressed by him. Now, has he taken a hit? Has he had to, read a defense and all those kind of things? Not yet. But I just think the future is bright with him. Just that's my personal opinion.
Dan, what, John? Coach, kind of the same thing. Just what did you like about Caldwell when you brought him in here? What is he showing you, and how much confidence do you have in him?
So what happened is, so there's a good thing. So I got a mic, and so I've got this mic that's hooked up to my phone, and then I put the microphone down in front of Sark. So the good part is you're going to hear Sark loud and clear. The bad part is you may not hear the questions that good, all right? But you'll be able to figure it out based on the answers.
I think like to my point, he's a guy that has been in a variety of systems. He has athleticism. He throws a really good ball. What I liked about him on his visit was probably the biggest thing was just his demeanor, his approach to it. It didn't seem too big for him here. He didn't feel entitled by any means. He was a guy who just wanted an opportunity, and that's what we were looking for, a guy who had taken some snaps in college football. And then that's how he's performed, since the day he got here. That's the way he's worked at it throughout camp and throughout the season, and he's making the most of his opportunities. He's played well every time that we've put him in the game. Whether it's been at the end of games with the long runs, with the passes, whether it's been at Florida where he had to come in and throw a ball to Ryan Wingo on an in cut, whether it was this game. And so, what gives me confidence is who he's been, and so feel very comfortable with Matt whenever he's in the ballgame.
And left center.
The guys seem to gravitate to him when he comes in. And he's come in under some adverse situations. Do you feel that from the other guys when he's in there?
Yeah, I think what he's done is earned the respect of his teammates. Like I said, I think his demeanor, who he is as a teammate, I think his relationship with Arch is very important to that. I think they have a lot of respect for him that way. And then, when you produce, you get respect too, because his teammates know that's not easy, to come in off the bench and to do what he's done in a couple different games. And so, they respect the fact that he's prepared, that he's ready, and that the moment's not too big for him. And I think he's got great rapport with the guys. Like I really do. I just think he's an awesome teammate with these guys. And so, they enjoy seeing him have that success and celebrating with him.
The middle, Kirk.
Yes, Steve, I was wondering how many transfer quarterbacks you even looked at before deciding on that. And did you find something in that offense with the spread game or the passing game that you're going to incorporate more? I don't think you're going to air raid, but.
I think with the thing, we looked at a few guys. Everybody was looking everywhere. I mean, everybody's trying to figure out who's your backup, what not. And it's hard to, I think in this day and age, to keep multiple really, high level 5-star type quarterbacks. You got to look around. I think no more is more telling than what Ole Miss, figured out with their guy. And so, it was just felt like the right fit, honestly, with Matt. For us, passing game wise, that was what was needed in the moment, and we challenged, oddly enough, the receivers and the quarterbacks Friday night about the way we needed to play the game. And I played a fair amount of older clips, some from here of other players, some from the last place I was at with some of those players, and some from the current guys on this team of similar plays we wanted to run and how they needed to be ran. And that was the expectation, right? That's why they were brought here. And to those guys' credit, they really responded. And they didn't play perfect. There's plays that they'd love to have back. But man, they competed and they played fast. And we're at our best when we play fast on the perimeter. And then when the quarterback trusts that play speed that they're playing with. And I thought Art showed a lot of trust in those guys, Saturday, and their play speed and their playmaking showed up. Like I said, there was a couple, those 2 touchdown catches by Parker and Emmett. I mean, those are elite catches. Those are about as high level catches as you can make, in the red area, tight quarters. Any bobble in either one of those is not a touchdown. And so the ability to make those strong catches were big. And that just builds confidence and that builds trust for the quarterback.
On your right, Anwar. So, what's kind of the plan for Arch this week?
He's in the protocol.
You have like a cutoff point.
That's for the doctors.
Okay. And then the second part is for KJ Lacey. What has he done over the last couple of months? You've had him traveling. What has he done to kind of move into that number 2 role?
Yeah, he's done a great job. I think one thing with KJ, every time we've been in scrimmage settings and things of that nature, call-up periods. On Mondays, we do a lot of work when it's 2s on 2s, 3s on 3s, and we let these guys play. He really performs at a high level. He's a gamer. He's got a natural feel for passing the ball. He's got a natural feel in the pocket in anticipating throws. He uses his legs really well. And so to that point, it was like, man, I can feel like, man, as more this guy grows within our system, he's going to really elevate his game as he continues to go. And that's what he's done. He's continued to improve. I do think he's got good rapport, especially with those younger receivers. Those are the guys he throws to a lot. But there's great rapport that he has with those guys, and the ball moves forward when he plays. And he's a lot more vocal guy in those moments on the field than he is off the field. And so I know what's in there. And so, very encouraged by what he's done up until.
Encouraged by something. We'll never know what he was encouraged by, but because apparently got cut off at that moment. Nonetheless, by the way, sidebar, y'all make me laugh too hard sometimes. Yeah, I tell you, like the hardest part with y'all is that if I focus on the chat too much, y'all say some of the most just foul things about some people, reporters, like all kinds of stuff. And I try to keep it straight, but I sometimes it can be easily distracted. Y'all need help. And some of y'all just need Jesus. Rodolfo might need it. I mean, I'm just saying that some of y'all need it. Any case, Money B, y'all need Jesus. Y'all need to go to church. Anyway, that's the end of Sark there. By the way, Austin FC, I live in Austin. That's my team, of course. What are you? FC Dallas or something? Dynamos? Like, I don't know. Those are only top options unless you like rock with San Antonio or something like that, and you like that league. Any case, so as you can see from Sark, you can see the confidence that he has. If Caldwell needs to go, the interesting thing, but the main thing I was trying to establish was, like, hey, is there some sort of deadline? Because I what I wanted to kind of know is like, all right, if he's in the protocol, when does he need to practice? At what point does he need to practice? By the way, sidebar for a second. I got a neighbor, I swear, I think she homeschools her kids. The screaming that I am hearing outside of my window, I don't know how she's not motivated to take her kid to daycare. I don't know. Okay, that was just a sidebar because I just hear a kid go, ah! I'm like, whew, okay. Any case, I just hear a kid screaming the whole damn time. You can't, but imagine like hearing like a 1.5-year-old scream. Welcome to my life. So I wanted to know, like, okay, if he doesn't practice, like, is it a cutoff date that he needs to be practicing by? And Sark doesn't seem to have that. I think in general, for the most part, usually, Tuesday is a heavy practice day for Texas. That's a heavy practice day. And then, and then they kind of taper it down as the week goes along. My gut would say, if he's not practicing by Wednesday or Thursday, I'd probably start leaning towards that. It'd be interesting what Sark puts on the practice report this on Wednesday night, 7:10 p.m. It'll be interesting to see what he puts on there because I think that'll, of course, that's going to show us a lot. But at some point, I just feel like for a game that's this important, Vanderbilt, at some point you got to figure out, hey, we got to roll. We got to roll with who we got. And, look, I know it could be a game time decision. And if Sark feels good enough that, hey, if Arch is at a point where he could just go through it, he could watch the film and be okay and not have to get the reps, and so be it. If he feels like, hey, what he saw in the second half, aka the fourth quarter of Mississippi State was enough, then so be it. In Sark you trust. But huge game this weekend, man. I mean, this is it. Like, this is, Texas is in it's almost playoff kind of thing. It's almost elimination for them. 4 games left. You got to beat Vanderbilt. You got to beat them, because you lose to Vandy. Now you got 3 losses. You're probably not going to make the conference championship game. And at that point, you're just fighting this kind of clawing. And look, you come out the bye week. You've got Georgia, which we know is good. It's going to be good at home. Night game. We know that you got Arkansas, and A&M is playing incredibly well, right? So it's do or die at this moment. Look, and then one of the things I wrote on Sunday, we're going to get in my power rankings in a second, but I wrote this thing on Sunday. And I said, the one thing we know about this team is that they're consistently inconsistent. That's the one thing you can bank on. But the other thing you can bank on as well, and something you just got to hold on to, and as far as hope for the season is concerned, is that at the end of the day, I don't know what the hell is going on over there. Anyway, yo, it's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, I'm sorry. Let me easily distracted. But at some point, I'm gonna have to like, yo. Anyway, the thing that we have to see as they threw me 100% off. The screaming babies has thrown me off right now. I was saying like Vanderbilt is that every game kind of becomes a single elimination kind of game for Texas going forward. But this is where I was at. I was like, your hope is that you might just have to say that this team is just going to win ugly. And if this team wins ugly, and you just got to say, you know what, it's not going to be a convincing win. This offensive line ain't going to be that great. Running game ain't going to be that great. But you know what? We're going to have a defense that stands up when they need to. The offense will put up points when they need to. And if at the end of the day, we get to the end of November, and it just somehow worked, shit, and it is what it is, and so be it, right? I think for most of us, we look at it and say, yeah, but there's holes in this boat, and every time you plug one, there's another hole, right? And so I think that's the challenge of it. But look, at the end of the day, if they could just make it through, and I hate, look, I hope every game don't look like Mississippi State or Kentucky, but at the end of the day, if they just get the wins, then so be it. And then shoot, if they rise up like a Oklahoma game, then it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like I know we wanted to look prettier, and right now I'm just focusing on I'm literally focusing on the end result, which is at this point, sorry, I don't care how you do it. Just get the dubs. I don't care what it looks like. Just get the wins. It is what it is, man. Look, if people want to kick it to Ryan Niblett, so be it. Let them take it back to the house. Like it is what it is. I'm fine. It's that Al Davis just win, baby. That's where I'm at. Just give us the dubs, give us the wins. If you do that, style points be damned. Do you care? I don't care. I mean, Auburn could say to themselves, well, look how competitive we've been against teams we've lost to. But at the end of the day, you're just talking about the L's, right? So I'm not going to focus on that. Just give me the dubs, and we'll go from there. All right. Time to put power up. Hit my power rankings for this week right now. Alabama still remains in that number one spot, as Ludacris would say. Alabama goes out. They beat South Carolina. Wasn't a pretty game. And what's funny? Alabama fans were complaining that, they felt like this game should not have been as close and should not have been as ugly as it was. But nonetheless, they got the win. And at the end of the day, what Alabama says? We don't care. As long as we're winning, it is what it is, right? So that happened. Texas A&M, I moved them up one spot after the win against LSU. Now, look, none of us are sold on LSU, but LSU was a ranked team, so I have to give them credit for that. Look, they have defeated Notre Dame. They you can say, well, they haven't played a bunch of tough teams, but they are winning. That's all that matters. They defeated Auburn, they beat Mississippi State, they defeated Florida, Arkansas, LSU. And honestly, when you look at the remaining schedule, they're at Missouri on the Saturday, a game they should win. They play South Carolina, another game they should win. They play Samford on November the 22nd, and then they play Texas. I mean, they shouldn't lose another game prior to playing Texas, right? So, they just are who they are. Georgia had a week off. So it's just recency bias more so than anything else. Georgia had the week off, so I moved them back, and I just rewarded Texas A&M for a quality win. I moved up Vandy. They beat Missouri. That's a ranked team, ranked 15th in the country. They beat Missouri. Their only loss is to Alabama. They've defeated LSU. They have defeated Missouri. They have defeated South Carolina. Defeated Virginia Tech. So they're putting up the wins. They're bowl eligible. 7-1. They got a better record in Texas at this point. Of course, they haven't played Ohio State. I get that. But shoot, when you look at them, they've got Texas. Look, if they beat Texas, I'm going to tell you something crazy. If Vanderbilt beats Texas, this is potentially a playoff team. Because at that point, their remaining games are Auburn, who they should beat, Kentucky, who they should beat, and then they're at Tennessee. So they've got, if they beat Texas, they're easily a 10-2 team. So Vanderbilt's a team, it is what it is, you know. Sometimes the stuff happens, and this stuff happens. Ole Miss is at the number 5 spot. No, they go out and they get their win against Oklahoma on the road. So, you know, good win for them. Again, nothing against them. It's just that I moved Vandy up. That's all it is. I switched positions with them. And then I'm gonna tell you, I moved. Tennessee moves up 1 spot because of their victory over Kentucky, and only because it was a convincing victory, 56-34. I moved them up a little bit. I moved Texas up 2 spots after the win against Mississippi State. Not because I think the win was that amazing, but here's where it gets tricky. I'll be honest with you. Once I got past Texas, it's a shoulder shrug for me for the rest of these teams. I don't care about none of them. And I don't think any of them in this group is playoff bound. I don't think any of them are going to make the SEC championship game. I would say from 8 to 13 is a huge shoulder shrug for me. You might say, like, there's none of these teams I care about. None of these teams I think are that good. And I know you're going to say, well, Oklahoma's in there. Yeah, but Oklahoma's got some more losses coming for them. That one, I talked to Oklahoma fans, and I'll talk, D'Angelo, the Opinion Sports Show. He and I usually go back and forth in a very respectful manner. And they already lost to Ole Miss. They got to play Tennessee on the road. They're probably going to lose that. They got to play Alabama on the road. They're probably going to lose that. That would give them 2 more losses and put them at 6-4. They play Missouri at home, coin flip at that point. And then they play LSU, which I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that says, well, LSU just fired their coach. But then I'm like, well, shoot, it might be better for LSU if we're all said and done. Like, whoever the interim is might be that jolt of lightning that they need, quite honest with you. But Oklahoma's got more losses. They can get ready for whatever bowl game they're going to play. And they just need to hope they don't play Navy again because, God forbid, they lose against them. LSU slip and sliding, but not like Trick Daddy and Trina, just slip and sliding all the way down. By the way, I hope somebody, maybe Green Lantern, got the slip and slide reference, or you had to be from the deep South. Florida's there. Again, these are teams that it's kind of like I have to rank them. It is what it is. Florida is ranked. They beat Kentucky, I guess. So whatever. So I got Florida ranked there. No, I think Florida. I think I meant to say Florida beat Mississippi State, and that's why I have them ranked ahead. Kentucky plays Florida in 2 weeks. I apologize for that. And then who cares? Mississippi State's there. I see Tex Blonde going at it with Brennan Thompson's mom, Bonnie Thompson. So I saw that exchange over the weekend. Y'all are crazy. Y'all really, all of you, Tex Blonde, you too. You two got issues. You too. You and Rodolfo, Money B, y'all need Jesus. And then South Carolina, who's a horrible team. Kentucky, who was also a bad team. And of course, there's Arkansas, which is also a really bad team. And Chad Gibson, you haven't seen an Opinion Sports Show in a minute. He's around, actually. He was actually, I think, in the post-game show on Saturday, if I'm correct. We made a bet before the season that when you hear him reference it, we made a bet before the season. Now, I beat him the last. So what we do is we do 3 games, and he'll bet 3 games. He'll give me 3 games he thinks Texas is going to lose. I'll give him 3 games that I think Oklahoma is going to lose, and then Texas OU is the tiebreaker, right? So I've won the last 2 years, and usually it's like a $50 gift certificate so we can get a bottle or something like that. So I've won the last 2 years. We've only this is year 3. So he took Texas versus Ohio State, and I lost that one, obviously 14-7. He took, which is crazy to me, he took Texas versus Florida, and I was like, before the season, I'm like, oh man, I'm about to clean up on this one. And damn near Texas loses that. So then he got me 2-0 with out of the blue. And then he's got Texas at Georgia. Now, I said Oklahoma will lose to South Carolina. And they beat South Carolina. So now I'm down 1. And now, basically, the only way I got a chance to win this bet is if Texas beats Georgia. Because I've got Oklahoma losing to Alabama and LSU. I know to lose to Alabama, but damn it, LSU, I thought that was a lot before the season. So I might have to end up buying him a bottle. But at the end of the day, if Texas goes to the playoffs, well, he can go and sip on it and sip on his little drink while he watches Texas play in the playoffs, and he gets ready for the Cheez-It Bowl or something in Memphis, Tennessee, or anything to that effect, right? So, and yes, Sailor, Joe, you asked this question. I got the answer. The playoff is next Tuesday. I will actually, the next Tuesday is when the first time that it does drop, Sailor Joe. I'm glad you asked that question. I will get this for you right now. This is a good one for you. Here you go, Sailor Joe. I got you. Thank you for asking. Next Tuesday is going to be that time. Hold on, put this on the screen for you. Hopefully you can see it. I'll make this larger. Drop the chat. All right, here you go. Tuesday. So 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock our time, so between 7 and 7:45, we will have the first of the CFP selection committee rankings. That does get dropped a week from now. Now, listen, Texas needs to win. If Texas wins this upcoming weekend, then we have a reason to pay attention to this. If not, we over here window shopping. By the way, that's another reference. I hope someone got that one as well. Green Lantern may have got that. But we don't want to be window shopping. And then you see the rest of the schedule, November 4th, 11th, 18th. You can see it all the way through. And then, of course, Sunday is kind of the final selection Sunday show. That would be after the conference championship games as well. So, Sailor, thank you for asking. Make sure you guys stay tuned for that one. But I appreciate you asking about that, Sailor. Make sure those super chats came in. I don't want to have any jack moves. And Money B, I just gave you the answer to your question, right? So hopefully you're good. I'm going to lose that bet, Money B, though. Damn it! That Florida loss cost me, though. I really thought he was tripping when he did that Florida thing. But nah, that's not it. All right, man. That's it. 8. Rodolfo is out there in Houston. Rodolfo, please don't get in trouble. Please don't get in trouble. We can't do nothing for you in Houston, man. I'm telling you, there's no cavalry coming for you in Houston. They crazy out there, Rodolfo. You on your own. Ain't none of us gonna go out there We are not messing with them Houston folk. And I cleaned up all the language that I was what I would say off air. Rodolfo, you get into a scrap out there, hey man, just hit the ground. Hit the ground. I don't know. I don't tell you, but just be safe out there at that Young Boy concert. Don't do anything stupid. And make sure you check in tomorrow so we know that you survived. I saw something. I saw something. What was it? Like a security guard got beat up at the Young Boy concert or something like that, like a couple of weeks ago. Like it's wild as hell out there. So nah, you didn't join me and Green Lantern at the the Soul Fest weekends with Al Green and stuff. Ain't nobody there. We just chilling. You just I'm so in love with you. Like this, hang out with us. I saw New Editions coming in concert and stuff too. So you didn't come with us. You just stop all that Young Boy stuff. ATX Bates says, "Hey, Texas fans need to take the wins like George Carlin says about women." Lord, I should have read this before I put this on the screen. I've never slept with a 10, but I did 5 2s in one night. Ugly wins greater than a beautiful loss. Oh my God. Okay, ATX Banks. Okay, yes. Okay. On that note, we're getting out of here. That ATX Banks, that's the stuff you say around the fellas. You can't say that around the ladies. I got a bunch of ladies that watch this show, man. You can't. That's the boys. That's locker room talk. That's not. Anyway, don't put no more super chats in. Let's get the hell out of here. Y'all take care. I'll be back at noon for the podcast. Y'all need Jesus. Remember what I always say, leave each day like it was your last. One day it will be. Let me go check on my screaming neighbors' kids. ATX Bakes, Rodolfo.